All right, let's dive into a truly compelling story. It's about spiritual reclamation, really. Today we're focusing on Anagarika Dharmapala, an extraordinary individual who pretty much single-handedly revived the presence of Buddhism in one of its most sacred places, a place that had become quite neglected.
Yeah, and this deep dive isn't just about, one person's journey. It's a monumental struggle, really, a fight to reclaim a historical legacy.
Okay.
We're going to explore how one man's devotion, his sheer will, sparked a movement that reshaped the destiny of a pivotal site, and it still resonates today.
And you're going to hear some truly surprising facts. I mean, especially from a courtroom drama you simply wouldn't believe.
Right.
Our mission here is to distill the most important nuggets of knowledge from the sources you've provided. Sort of a shortcut to being well-informed about a story that, well, in many ways is still unfolding.
It really makes us consider, doesn't it? How do the echoes of the past, particularly in these places of profound spiritual significance, how do they continue to shape our present understanding and maybe even, control?
So let's start at the beginning. Who was Anagarika Dharmapala?
He was born Don David Hiavattare.
Right, in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Came from an affluent Christian family, actually.
Yes, but his early life took a really significant, unexpected turn. He found inspiration through Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott.
Ah, the Theosophical Society people.
Exactly. That organization dedicated to studying ancient religions and philosophies. And through them, he even learned Pali.
The language of many Buddhist scriptures.
That's right. And that formative period was just crucial. His years were deeply shaped by reading Buddhist teachings, connecting with Buddhist monks.
And this led him to see something important.
A pivotal observation, really. He saw firsthand how British colonial rule and, aggressive missionary activity were weakening Buddhism in Sri Lanka. It prompted this profound transformation within him. He chose to abandon his Christian identity, fully embraced Buddhism, and became an Anagarika.
Which means a renunciate, or a homeless one.
Yeah, basically someone dedicating their life entirely to spiritual pursuit without worldly ties.
And his dedication wasn't just personal, was it? He went on to do quite a lot.
Oh, absolutely. He devoted his life to spreading Buddhism, managed to open over 300 schools across Sri Lanka.
300? Wow. That's a massive undertaking, especially for one person back then. How did he manage that?
That's a great question. I mean, his extensive work truly spanned over 40 years, promoting Buddhism across India, Sri Lanka, other parts of the world too.
Incredible.
The sources really highlight his remarkable organizational skills, his unwavering determination that allowed him to be instrumental in building numerous schools, hospitals, and important Buddhist monasteries, viharas.
Including a very famous one.
Yes, the famous Mahavihara in Sarnath, that was one of his significant contributions.
Okay, so let's talk about the journey that really defined his mission, his sacred quest to Bodh Gaya.
Right. So Dharmapala meticulously studied ancient Buddhist texts. And through this study, he pinpointed Bodh Gaya as the exact spot where Sakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment.
Finding that must have been profound.
Absolutely. This discovery ignited this intense, deeply personal desire within him to actually go there, to visit the place.
What was his dream for the visit?
Well, it was vivid. To journey to that very land, where Buddha received enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, to meditate there himself, to really experience the glory of that sacred ground.
And that strong resolve brought him to India.
Precisely. That's what brought him to India in 1891, a land then under British rule, remember.
But his arrival, it wasn't quite the glorious experience he imagined, was it?
No, it brought a really disheartening discovery. He found holy sites like Bodh Gaya just, in a state of neglect, disarray, far from the vibrant spiritual centers they should have been.
So that experience must have just solidified everything for him.
Indeed. This journey, in fact, it cemented his life's greatest resolve. He became immortalized through his dharma, his sacrifice, his tireless struggle.
And he kept going back.
Oh, yes. The sources note his frequent visits, 3 times in 1891 alone. And by 1895, he'd returned to pray at the Mahabodhi Vihara a total of 10 times. He was persistent.
Okay, so at that time, the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya,
right,
who was actually in charge?
It was under the control of a Hindu Mahant, essentially the head priest or abbot of the temple complex.
And under his control, Buddhist heritage was fading.
Sadly, yes. It was slowly disappearing from the site. And this is where the narrative takes a really crucial and, frankly, quite shocking turn.
What happened?
When Dharmapala first arrives at Bodh Gaya, he saw the Buddha statue there, in its pure, simple form, just as it had been.
Okay.
But imagine his shock just a few days later. He goes back and finds the Mahant had completely covered the statue with cloth, adorned it with ornaments, sandalwood, basically making it resemble a Hindu deity.
Wow, that must have been jarring.
Jarring is an understatement. And his heartbreak didn't stop there. He then went to see the sacred Bodhi tree.
The actual tree.
The very lineage, yes.
Yeah.
The spot where Buddha attained enlightenment. He was devastated to find the Brahmin Mahant actually damaging the tree by pouring oil on it, causing it to deteriorate.
Oh, no. It's hard to grasp the despair he must have felt.
Yeah.
Seeing these sacred symbols treated like that, it makes his mission feel so urgent, so personal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For someone who had given up everything for his faith, to witness what looked like a systematic attempt to erase Buddhist identity from its holiest site, it must have been crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, as the sources show, it ultimately just galvanized his resolve.
Right.
Despite his sorrow, he composed himself
Yeah.
and simply asked for some leaves from the tree.
Just leaves.
Yes. But this profound sadness, this outrage really, at the state of Buddhist sites spurred him into action. He started writing to Buddhist countries all over the world seeking support.
And he took practical steps, too.
He did. As a proactive step, he founded the Mahabodhi Society in 1891, initially headquartered in Colombo, but they quickly moved it to Kolkata to establish a central hub for his global efforts, really.
And beyond his work on the ground, he also took his message global.
That's right. He delivered this powerful, astounding speech on Buddhist philosophy at the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago. This was 1893.
And how was it received?
Scholars from all sorts of diverse religions who were present were genuinely impressed. Astounded, the sources say.
Now, there's a fascinating sidebar to that event, isn't there? Involving Swami Vivekananda.
Yes, a really striking aspect. Vivekananda also spoke at that council representing what he called Brahmanism.
Okay.
But apparently he was initially prevented from speaking by some Brahmins there who claimed he wasn't, one of them, not qualified.
Right.
And the sources reveal it was actually Dharmapala who stepped in. He gave Vivekananda his own 18-page speech and his allotted time slot to speak.
Wow, that's incredible. And it's interesting you use the term Brahmanism.
Yes, not Hinduism. The term Hindu religion wasn't as prevalent then, it seems.
So his international presence definitely helped raise awareness about Bodh Gaya.
It did. And while he was making waves abroad back in India, the renewed attention spurred by his efforts led to another pivotal moment. A Japanese monk gifted a beautiful Buddha statue.
Intended for Bodh Gaya.
Exactly. With the hope of reviving true Buddhist tradition there.
So Dharmapala and his followers, they reverently took the statue to Bodh Gaya, ready to install it.
Yes. But the immediate aftermath was, well, horrifying.
What happened?
The Mahant showed up, accompanied by, the sources say, a Muslim goon, an enforcer, and a crowd. They violently disrupted the installation.
Yeah.
They vandalized the scene, forcibly removed the statue, and Dharmapala just stood by, completely powerless. The police apparently just watched it all happen.
That public humiliation.
Yeah.
It must have been intense.
Deeply igniting his resolve, the sources say. But this time he realized it called for a different approach, not force.
Right. He needed justice.
Exactly. Dharmapala realized this was a battle for justice that required the support of Buddhist nations. He decided to take the matter to court.
And so the legal proceedings began. The Mahabodhi movement filed a case.
Yes, before Magistrate D.J. McPherson in Gaya in 1895.
Now, what's truly remarkable about this trial is who testified. It wasn't just Dharmapala's side.
No, not at all. The Mahant's own lawyers, local landlords, and learned Pandits, traditional Hindu scholars, they all gave testimonies.
And you're about to hear some pretty surprising revelations from their own mouths.
Exactly. During the 1895 trial, let's start with Babu Durga Shakargapatacharya, a noble Brahmin, a landlord, chairman of the Gaya local board, quite respected.
Okay, what did he say?
He provided some really compelling testimony under oath. He stated that before the temple renovation, there is a brick-and-mortar Buddha statue inside, which, he pointed out, Hindus do not worship.
Interesting. What about after the renovation?
He mentioned that a Mr. Baylor installed a new, large Buddha statue, and that statue had been there for, 10 to 12 years by then.
And did he see who worshipped it?
Crucially, yes. He observed Buddhist devotees worshiping there with candles, incense, oil, kheer, the sweet rice pudding.
Right.
And then he explicitly declared, this is key, that neither he nor any other Hindu ever considered that statue a Hindu deity. He'd never seen Hindus worshipping there.
He was quite clear on that.
Very clear. He even added this detail that Hindus would never use European scents like lavender water in a Hindu temple because it's considered impure.
So his conclusion?
His conclusion, stated under oath, was that he always considered Mahabodhi Temple a Buddhist temple.
Wow. From the Mahant's own side, effectively.
Exactly. And the unexpected revelations didn't stop there. Pandit Gangadhar Shastri, the head pandit of Gaya District School, also testified.
Another learned scholar. What did he add?
Well, first, he corroborated Bhattacharya's point. He stated the Mahabodhi Temple is indeed a Buddhist temple, not Hindu. He even explained why he himself never entered the temple. According to his scriptures, he said it was forbidden to look at Buddha's face or even enter Jain temples. He cited specific texts for this.
Fascinating.
But here's where Pandit Shastri's testimony took a truly unexpected turn. He started to draw this distinction between two figures he referred to as Buddha within his own Brahminical understanding.
Two different Buddhists. Okay, explain that.
He differentiated between one, Lord Buddha, described as Vishnu's ninth avatar, born about 4,900 years ago, son of someone named Jin in Kikadesh, today's Gaya, depicted as naked, shaven, holding a peacock feather.
Okay, that's one. And the other?
The other was the Buddhist Buddha, Sakyamuni, son of Suddhodana and Mayadevi, born in Kapilavastu around 2,400 years ago, clearly distinct in his view.
And he said he'd never heard they were the same.
He testified that before this trial, he had never heard that Lord Buddha, the avatar, was the same person as the Buddhist Buddha, Sakyamuni.
That's a huge statement in this context.
It really is. And perhaps most importantly, he stated clearly that Hindus worship neither of these Buddhas as deities.
Neither. Not even the one described as Vishnu's avatar.
No. He went on to elaborate why Hindus don't worship the Jin's son, Buddha, referencing the Bhagavata scripture.
Okay, what was the reason?
According to the scripture, Vishnu took on that particular Buddha form specifically to mislead demons who were apparently following the Vedas too well.
Yeah.
So Vishnu used this form to teach them false knowledge, basically to protect the gods. So not a figure for Hindus to worship.
That's quite a specific theological point to make in court. Did he offer any historical context?
He did. He provided some critical history, noting that Shankaracharya, who lived about 1,100 years ago, started the sannyasi tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And Shankaracharya waged what the Pandit called Dharma Yudh, a religious war against the widespread Buddhism of his time, destroyed Buddhist temples, reestablished Brahmanism.
And he connected this to the Mahant.
Yes, he even pointed out that the Mahant, currently at Bodh Gaya, belonged to the Giri sect, which was one of the 10 monastic orders founded by Shankaracharya's direct disciples, placing the Mahant within that historical context of conflict with Buddhism.
So you have these incredibly powerful testimonies seemingly supporting Dharmapala's claim coming from the Mahant's own side. What was the outcome?
Well, despite these compelling testimonies from their own witnesses, Dharmapala's case was ultimately unsuccessful in that initial round.
Really, after all that?
Yes. His appeal affidavit was dismissed in August 1895, which effectively ended his legal campaign, at least at that specific time.
So his immediate legal fight was lost. But did his efforts have any long-term effect?
They did. His persistent civil suit, which kept demanding the transfer of Mahabodhi Vihara and 3 other key Buddhist sites, well, it eventually led to Buddhists gaining access to the Vihara today. That's a direct result of his struggle.
But it wasn't a complete handover.
No. The sources indicate that the influence of what they term so-called Hindus still maintains a significant presence there. It wasn't the full restoration he envisioned.
And Dharmapala himself, did he live to see any of this progress?
Sadly, no. Anagarika Dharmapala passed away on April 29, 1933. He was 69 in Colombo, Sri Lanka. He did not live to see the Mahabodhi Act of 1949.
So his ultimate dream remained unfulfilled in his lifetime.
His dream of seeing pure Buddhist rituals conducted at that historical site, the place where Sakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment, completely free from Brahmin control. Yes, that remained unfulfilled while he was alive.
But 16 years after his death, something did change legally.
Yes, in independent India, the Mahabodhi Temple Management Act was implemented in 1949. This legally granted Buddhists co-rights to the temple, a very significant step forward, definitely born from his tireless efforts.
Yet you mention ongoing issues.
Right. The sources highlight that even with the 1949 Act, Brahmin traditions and the influence of the Mahants haven't fully receded.
I saw.
Well, In a complex twist, some of the Buddhist representatives appointed to the management board have reportedly been Brahmins who later adopted Buddhism.
Okay.
And according to these sources, they sometimes continue to promote the idea that Buddha is actually an avatar of Vishnu.
Still pushing that narrative, even from the Buddhist side of the committee.
That's what the sources suggest. And this ongoing narrative can create confusion among the public. It's seen by some as a subtle, ongoing attempt to usurp Buddhist heritage and identity at the site itself.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there another major figure who picked up on Dharmapala's mission?
Absolutely. The revered Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, often known as Babasaheb Ambedkar,
Right.
he explicitly recognized Dharmapala's unfinished mission as a historical inspiration. He openly advocated for returning Mahabodhi Vihara fully to Buddhists. In his writings, speeches, and even through the Diksha movement.
Mass conversion movement to Buddhism he led.
Exactly. He saw it as part of the same struggle.
So it's a shared inheritance, in a way.
You could say that. Thus, when you recall Buddha under the Bodhi tree today, maybe you should remember both Anagarika Dharmapala and Babasaheb Ambedkar. Both dedicated their lives in different ways to restoring that sacred land to its true Buddhist identity and ensuring its rightful place in history.
As we conclude this deep dive, then, it's really clear that Anagarika Dharmapala's fight to truly bring that original presence of Buddha back to its sacred soil is a story with these powerful ongoing echoes.
Mm-hmm.
We've traced his profound personal transformation, his global advocacy, only to arrive at this fascinating, often contested intersection of historical ownership, religious identity, a struggle that continues, it seems, to shape the present.
Yeah, this story isn't just, a historical account gathering dust. It's a living example of how the very definition of a sacred space, a religion's identity, can be contested across centuries. It forces us to confront how power, law, interpretation, how these things continue to shape who controls and defines our spiritual heritage. Even today, this deep dive into history is still very much part of our present reality.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of what we think we know about history, especially when it intertwines so deeply with faith and identity, how much of it is still a matter of ongoing interpretation and active contest?
And that raises an important question, I think, for you, the listener, to consider. What responsibility do we have as learners, as inheritors of history, to seek out and understand these layered narratives, especially when they involve the profound cultural and spiritual heritage of others? How we navigate these complexities today?